Hey, Jenica.
Hi, Dean.
Jenica, I'm going to ask you a bunch of questions, but first, tell folks a little bit about you, and then I'm going to get into it.
Okay. Hi, Dean. I am Jenica Oliver. I'm a fractional CMO. I started in the brand marketing space, particularly on the food and beverage side. So
Hmm.
brands like International Delight, Coffee Creamer, Mission Foods, Pizza Hut, Board and Dairy Company. And today, every time I go to the supermarket, it's like a trip down memory
Yeah.
lane. Now I'm the fractional chief marketing officer for consumer products companies who have reached that magic number in revenue and headcount where they've decided it's time to professionalize or upskill their
Right.
marketing. And I've been doing that for 8 years now.
Wow. In fractional
Actually,
CMO
9.
terms, that's a long time.
Yeah, 9 years. It's 2025,
Yeah.
9 years.
Okay. So here's my first question. You just got a new client. Today's day one, and when you show up for a new engagement, I know it's probably virtually show up. You're not like usually not at an office, but you show up. Like, what tends to be like the best or worst marketing situation you see that you're like, wow, that's really impressive, or wow, there's some work to be done here for this new client.
Well, the worst situation is that no one other than the executives knew that I was coming.
Right.
And so they're not necessarily prepared to work with, they don't understand my role, what I'm there for, that
Mhm.
I'm there to actually lead the marketing function, not just consult and,
Yeah.
throw out ideas and then disappear into a conference room. So that's typically the types of situations that I try to prepare my partners for my arrival. And then the best situations are where they've already gathered the team, the people that are going to be reporting into me, that I'm going to be partnering with both directly and cross functionally. And we're ready to talk about the business. I want to get to know them, their business challenges. I want them to get to know me and how I work. That really seems to set us up for success.
Um, and then what's sort of what's the opposite of that that you normally find in the real world, not hypothetical, but you actually like show up and say, wow, guys, like, wow.
Well, usually, the
Right.
the companies that I partner with are really excited to
Yeah.
have someone on board who can help them really identify those opportunities that they may have missed or
Hmm.
identified opportunity that they know that they want to take advantage of, but they just don't know how to get there. So most of the time, what happens when I show up is they're really eager. They're very prepared. They've got tons of reference materials for me to take a look at. They'll show me their strategic plans in various levels and degrees of completion,
Right.
but they're ready to dive in and get started, and that's ultimately, what I like to.
Okay, so it's still day one on our hypothetical engagement. Okay, and while you've probably talked to the CEO of this company before, today, of course, it's different because today, like, there's a true vendor client relationship going on, right? So the CEO looks at you and says, "Jenica, so I'm going to be honest with you. You work with a lot more CEOs than I ever have to work with CMOs. So as CEO, is there something that I should start doing or stop doing to help make sure you're successful here?"
Start doing is sharing information. There are so many things that marketing either touches or is
Hmm.
influenced by. It's not a silo. And oftentimes, executives, when they're not used to having a fully built out C suite or they're not used to working with a marketing leader, they think marketers only deal with marketing. When
Right.
really, what we need to have access to is information about everything the company's doing, whether it is, going after new retail partners. Given that I work in the consumer product space, whether it's going after new retail partners, whether it's talking about supply chain and logistics, those are all the things that we as marketing leaders need to have visibility into. We need to have some insight. And it's not, I often tell people, it's like, I'm not trying to get up in your business, but I want to understand your business enough that I can be a partner to you in what you're doing. So, those are some of the things that I like to tell them to stop doing. Like, stop being siloed. Stop thinking that marketing is just programs, promotions, and good social media.
Right.
Some of the things I want them to start doing is looking at me as a strategic partner, as marketing team as your strategic partner, whether it's branding the total company, whether it's helping the CEO create their own personal brand as the face of the organization, helping to tell that founder story. helping to advise on all things, including PR and crisis. And, there's a lot of things that marketing touches, which is honestly why I love marketing.
Right.
I don't have to be a genius or a generalist, a specialist in any one area. I get to be a generalist. And that allows me to really partner with the executives across the board.
Okay, so I've got some fill in the blank questions for you. I like these because it's like less work for me, but more work for you. Your answer can be as long as it needs to be, but let's take a little detour and imagine that you're on stage, you're the speaker, everyone in the audience, all 250 people, they just became fractional CMOs yesterday. They're at the beginning of being in business for themselves and doing that kind of like work. Okay. So, question one, um, you guys here in the audience, congratulations, right? Starting off. The thing you're going to be shocked by the most being a fractional CMO is what?
That a lot of people don't know what that means. There are so many ways that fractional CMOs show up. I personally specialize in the consumer product space. There are other fractional CMOs that function much more like an agency where they have team members to kind of plug and play, in any area that their client has a need. Many of them act and function like agencies,
Mm-hmm.
whereas I consider myself more of a strategic partner. I don't bring along additional headcount. I'm generally integrating into an organization that already has a marketing function,
Right.
albeit junior, but a marketing function in place. And what I'm doing is helping to bring out the best, elevate, upskill that marketing department in a way that it's going to help the organization meet their goals, reach alignment with the executive team. You're going to be doing some things that you may not have thought were going to be part of your role as a fractional CMO. And I see it as an opportunity to really get involved and get engaged in the organization because at the end of the day, every organization has a business challenge. The more I can help them to identify, articulate, and execute against a solution to that business challenge, the more valuable I'm going to be. So I don't think of it as I don't do this, I won't do this, I will do this, I only do this. And it's not a one size fits all approach. I don't promise deliverables. What
Right.
I talk about is results. We're going to partner together. That means I have a responsibility, you have responsibilities, and we both have to come to the table being aligned around that thought that we're going to partner together through the good, the bad, and the ugly, but we're going to partner together to help you reach your goals. And so I think as I run into fractional CMOs, many of them are not quite yet focused on what they're good at.
Right.
They say, "Oh, wait, I do all the things," and it's just, I think that's a bit risky, to as a proposition to say you do all of the things. Now, some people do, and I'm not knocking anybody's hustle. So, do what you do,
I'll
but
knock somebody's hustle
but
because here's why.
I found specializing is good.
Of course, the first thing they're going to tell any client is, guys, we need to like have a single message. We need to be clear. We need to like have a position. We need to focus. We need to niche down. We can't be everything to everyone. Then those same people will say to you, oh, well, I don't want to leave money on the table. So I just tell people that I do everything. Like, it's literally the opposite advice that they give every client, but they won't follow it themselves. So I'll knock it. I don't care. All right. So then how about this? You're still talking to the same group. You're still on stage. So you say something else, by the way. Many of your clients are not going to understand this about marketing.
Many of my clients are not going to understand that it's not just social media.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
Um,
yeah, okay.
it's not just social media. I know that social media is one of those things that because just about everybody has it for themselves personally. They think that what they see and how they manage their social media is how it works. Or if I don't see vanity metrics or I don't have a million followers, that's the goal. That's what we should be targeting. But social media is just one part of the marketing mix. It should be
Right.
one part of the marketing mix. There are other levers that we as marketers should be looking at pulling based off of what the organization is trying to accomplish. Not all brands are created equal. Different brands are going to have different things. So what worked for one brand may not work for another brand. So it's really about creating customized solutions that fit the organization's needs, that are going to deliver the results that the organizations are looking for. And you got to be willing to get into the trenches and realize that maybe the platform that you're spending all your time creating content for isn't where your audience is. Do you
Right.
even know who your audience is? And even if they are on that particular platform, what are they looking for when they're on that platform? Is it entertainment? Because maybe they're not looking for brand
Yeah.
messaging when they're on it. So you really have to understand what the medium is for, how consumers are engaging with the medium, and whether or not that's the best place for you to have a presence. I'd rather you be really, really great on one platform where your audience is engaged than to be spread across all of the platforms available and you're really just not doing a good job connecting or resonating with your audience.
Okay. And then the last thing for the fractional CMOs. So you're on the stage, you're talking to them, and finally, I gave you these first two things. Here's the third thing. The thing that you really should understand about getting clients is what?
You have to be able to fish and eat at the same time. That advice was given to me early
Oh,
in
that's a good
my
way to put it. Yeah.
consultancy, is you have to always be
Yep.
prospecting, engaging, looking for that next partner, and not just when when you don't have anyone in the pipeline. And so it's really a bit of a balance. It's kind of being able to really service the partners that you have, the clients that you have, while also keeping, a pipeline of warm leads, talking to people about what you do. I'm not saying necessarily hard selling, but
Hmm.
you've got to keep that pipeline primed and full. And it's really better if you have a mix of the types of client engagements that you have. I work with clients on an advisory basis as well as a fractional, but
Hmm.
it's all fractional. But some of my clients just, are advisory clients. They have a lower level of support. They don't have as high of a need for, access anytime, all the time. And then I have other organizations that really need someone boots on the ground leading their marketing efforts at different service levels. So if you have a mix of that, that will help also to provide a little bit of cushion. My goal always in every engagement that I have is that the organization is going to grow to a point where they're able to bring marketing leadership in house.
Hmm.
And so by nature of that structure, I'm going to be phased out at some point in time. And that's generally a good thing. That means that they've developed their marketing function. They understand what partnering with a marketing leader looks like, and they're ready to make that full-time commitment. So you've got to keep that ability. Like I said, the best advice I got was you got to be able to fish and eat at the same time. And it honestly has proven time and time again.
No. Otherwise, you end up in this feast and famine cycle,
And
and
you
you
don't
don't
make
do it.
it 9 years.
No. Exactly. Okay. So you talk to a lot of prospective clients. You're talking to a lot of companies, right? Uh, the thing about marketing is, in almost every case, with every company you talk to, whoever you're talking to thinks they understand marketing. It's just the nature of marketing, right? And so, as you talk to companies these days, what sort of strategy or platform or tool or communication, like what do they talk about, and you think it's overrated? And what do you think is underrated? Like, what do you think not enough companies pay attention to that they would get great returns if they paid attention to it? What's
I think
overrated and underrated?
the most overrated is social media follower counts,
Mm-hmm.
the focus on follower counts. I explain to people all the time, I would rather my partners focus on getting 100 really engaged
Right.
followers, brand lovers, versus a million followers when only a fraction of them will ever see your messaging at any point in time.
Right.
The thing that I think is most underutilized is their lists, like email
Yeah.
marketing lists. Every time I hear that a social media platform went down, and that was their primary way of communicating with their audience, and the platform was down for a period of time. Let me tell you what never goes down: your email list.
Yep.
And you own that audience.
Yep.
The conversion rate from people who've opted in to receive messaging from you, the lifetime value of those customers is far greater than the social media followers. And we're able to monetize that. And so just because I watch your content doesn't mean that I necessarily am going to buy, but I can tell you whether or not my email
Hmm.
list, those members of those lists are converted into customers. I can even tell you if those people are actually engaged enough that when I'm available in a retail store to
Right.
follow me into that retail store. So I think that there should be a lot more focus on building your list and owning your audience that you can communicate with. You can also communicate with them on social media, but you can send those targeted messages directly to that list and actually see how they behave and what they react to, even testing, A/B testing, creative and subject lines, all of that stuff
Yeah.
with your list. And I think that's much more valuable.
Yeah. I tell people your audience, your business audience, is an asset just like anything else. It's an asset just like your reputation is an asset, or your building is an asset. And like a reputation, your audience, you can't buy it. You have to build it. Every single company has to build their own, and so there's no shortcut. Just and so that means today's the day you should start doing that,
Absolutely.
because tomorrow is like the next best day to do it, but today's the best day to do it. Well, the best day to do it was the first day you opened your doors, but this
Exactly.
is now do that. Okay, now I'm going to ask you a question. Some people get stumped on this, so it's okay, right? What is marketing?
Marketing is being able to influence behavior through messaging, storytelling, creative. It's about creating connections with your audience in a way that feels authentic and genuine
Hmm.
and motivates them to take action in a particular way, whether that's a promotion, whether it's a pricing strategy, whether it's placement, all the four P's, packaging, product, you name it. All of those things work together to ultimately induce some type of consumer behavior that the brand is looking for. And so it's not just one thing. I love it when people try to wrap it up into a bow, where they're like,
Yeah.
"Oh, marketing is advertising." No, it's not. Marketing is innovation. No, it's not. I mean, it's all of those things. It's not just one of those things, which is also why I love it.
Janika, that might be the best answer I've had yet. That's not bad. Like, not bad. I had to stop myself from swearing. So that's how good it was. Good job. Okay, you're talking to companies, or you're giving advice to new fractional CMOs about like evaluating prospects. And so, what are the green flags and red flags that they should look out for when they're talking to their prospective clients?
The red flags I look out for is making when they're looking for a guarantee of
Mm-hmm.
results or deliverables. Because for as much as I love marketing, it's not an exact science. You've got to be willing to run some trials, have some errors, go back, retrench, realign,
Mm-hmm.
relaunch. Like it's a lot of testing, modifying,
Yeah, it's
and
a lot of
reviewing.
iterating.
It's a lot of iterating, and if you're
Yeah.
not in it for the long haul, if they're just looking for lightning in a bottle, a quick hit, a guarantee, then you're setting both of you up for failure. You're setting up expectations that likely aren't going to be met consistently over time, and that's gonna make for a short relationship. So I don't anytime someone's looking for a guarantee of results or they're focused on deliverables and dates, like what date is it, am I gonna receive this? And yes, there are deliverables. Like if you ask me, we need brand guidelines, or I identify that you don't have consistent brand guidelines, and so you're just all over the place. I can give you a date for when the brand guidelines are going to be developed. Like
Mm-hmm.
that's a no-brainer. But when you're looking for dates on, when am I going to get into this retailer, when am I going to do this, when are we going to hit X number of social media or email subscribers, I don't know. It really depends on everything working together consistently. And if either one of us don't do what we said we were going to do, what we committed to do, then all bets are off. So that's another reason why I refer to my clients as strategic partners, because in a partnership, you realize that both people have to bring something to the table. If this is a transactional relationship, you're paying and you're expecting something in return. And yes, I mean, my goal is always to deliver value, but I want to deliver sustainable value, value that we can repeat. I want to have a long-standing relationship until, of course, you get to that point where you're ready to bring somebody on board. But I don't want to set anybody up for failure, myself included. And I know enough about marketing. I have enough experience and expertise in this field to know that it's not an exact science. And I would be doing my partner a disservice if I promised results that I wasn't sure that I could deliver.
Right. Okay. So one more question, and then I'm gonna ask the last question. So you're still on stage. The fractional CMO audience, they've all gone. The next audience, companies that are thinking about hiring a fractional CMO. What are the green flags and red flags for them as they're evaluating fractional CMOs?
Green flags are a realization that they can't do it themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Red flags are when you have CEOs or executives who say, well, I could do it, but I don't have time.
Well, what's the red flags they should be looking out for from all of the? Because there's a lot more people who say they're fractional CMOs now than did like 3 years ago, right? So it's all of a sudden. Before it was like, what's a fractional CMO, and now it's like, what's a fractional CMO, and why are there so many of them trying to like get me as a customer? So if I'm the CEO and I need to like start evaluating, like, or choosing between some number of fractional CMOs, like, are there any red flags I should keep an eye out for?
Red flags would be someone promising results.
Right.
And green flags should be someone who's asking more questions and listening
Mm-hmm.
to you explain to them about your business. People who come in on the first day in any situation, if
Right.
they've got it all figured out, my question is how? You don't even know my business well enough to have it
Yeah.
figured out. You haven't listened, you haven't learned.
You haven't talked to
Those
my
people are
customers.
going
You
to
got
give
nothing.
you they're going to give you cookie cutter plans
Right.
that are likely aren't going to work. They've got a template, they've got a formula, and they're going to execute that. They're not going to put together solutions that are right for your business. So if you've got somebody who says, I've got this, guaranteed approach, I'm all for, best practices. But if someone is guaranteeing results, if they're not listening, they're not asking you questions and listening and learning about your business, and if they're coming in telling you that they've got it all figured out, those are red flags. Green flags are engaging with someone who really wants to learn. They understand what you're doing well. They're not just trying to start everything from scratch. What are you
Right.
doing well? What can we build upon? Where are there opportunities to optimize? They're talking with you and getting not only your feedback, but also listening to your challenges. And then they're asking the questions of the things that you may not have thought of or the things that you're just not saying. Tell me about the resources that you have on the team. I want to learn about their strengths, where there are opportunities, where there are weaknesses. It's much more of a dialogue than I'm going to come to you in our first meeting and tell you what you need to be doing for, differently for your business.
Okay. So finally, who should be contacting Jenica these days, and how should they do it?
Yeah, so consumer products companies that are scaling up, they're either omni-channel or want to be in the omni-channel space, online as well as in brick and mortar retailers. And they now feel that it's time for them to put someone in charge of marketing who will set them up for success and the next level of growth that they want to get to.
Okay. All right. Whoa. I'll tell you what, I'm going to ask you that question again, so that don't touch your microphone. That was really loud. So, who should be contacting you these days, and how should they do it?
Okay. Consumer products based companies
Okay.
that are either omni-channel or want to be omni-channel online as well as in brick and mortar retail. And they realize that it's now time for them to put someone in charge of marketing that can actually help them to get to the next level of growth that they've identified or that they want to experience.
Okay. Sounds good. All right, Janika, thanks very much for this. That was a great answer, by the way, about the what is marketing. Like I said, probably the best one I've heard yet.
Hopefully, it makes one of the
Yeah.
clicks.
Hopefully it works. All right. Thanks. Thanks everyone
Thank
for
you so
watching.
much,
See you
Jean.
next time. Bye
All
bye.
right. Have a good one. Thank you.